Chapter 1. The Cage with the View, Washington, D.C., White House, East Wing. The morning sun streamed softly through the lace curtains of the East Wing bedroom, casting golden beams on the polished hardwood floor. Outside, the air buzzed with the sound of tourists clicking cameras and murmuring in awe as they pointed toward the mansion behind the gates, the White House. The symbol of power, the pinnacle of prestige, a dream painted in red, white, and blue. Inside, behind all that history and grandeur, Emily Morgan sat in silence. Perched on the edge of her antique window seat, she looked out, not at the rose bushes or the flag gently swaying in the summer breeze, but past it all. Her eyes followed the silhouettes beyond the fence. Wide-eyed kids on school trips, parents explaining history like bedtime stories, influencers angling for the perfect selfie. Some laughed, some cried. All of them stared at the place she called home, as if it were heaven carved in marble. But for Emily, it felt more like a gilded cage. She sighed and pulled her knees to her chest. The world thought she had everything: beauty, brains, influence. 22 Ivy League degree, fluent in 3 languages, a favorite of Vogue and Vanity Fair. They saw a poised young woman, a role model, a modern American princess. But they didn't see the fine print, the suffocation beneath the smile, the security detail that shadowed her like ghosts, or the carefully curated appearances that left no room for real emotion. They didn't know the loneliness of sitting at a 100-foot dinner table, or the weight of being used as a symbol of perfection. Because when your father is Jonathan Morgan, President of the United States, privacy isn't a right, it's a myth. And love, freedom, those were luxuries she only read about in books. Her gaze drifted down to the gardens, specifically the rose garden, where she used to play hide-and-seek as a child. Back then, it still felt like magic. Her mother would braid her hair while telling stories about past first families. Her father would scoop her up after long days of briefings and whisper, "You're my peace, little dove." But now, he was always in meetings, always negotiating, smiling for cameras, shaking hands, campaigning for world peace while forgetting her birthday. Emily stood and walked to her vanity. The morning ritual had begun. Stylist, makeup artist, assistant with her color-coded schedule. Layers of concealer, foundation, precision lipstick, all to build the illusion. The perfect daughter, the global darling. "You have a magazine interview in an hour," her assistant chirped. "And a ribbon cutting downtown at 4. Emily stared at her reflection. Her face was flawless, polished, beautiful. But the eyes staring back, she moved like a shadow through the corridors. Fast, familiar, invisible. Down staff stairwells and quiet back halls known only to those who'd lived in the White House long enough to grow bored of it. She pulled a hoodie over her head, swapped her heels for worn-out Converse sneakers, and slipped out through a little-known maintenance door behind the West Garden. There was only one guard on post, a junior agent she had bribed weeks ago with backstage Taylor Swift passes. He barely looked up. "You got an hour, tops." Emily nodded and vanished into the streets of D.C. A mile from the White House, everything changed. Gone were the clean sidewalks and white columns. Gone were the tinted SUVs and clipped conversations. Here, the pavement cracked beneath worn shoes, graffiti bloomed like urban art, and the air carried stories heavier than headlines. This part of the city didn't pretend. It didn't smile for cameras. It simply was. Emily walked aimlessly, her heart pounding, not from fear, but from a strange thrill. She passed a diner, a bus station, a group of teens laughing over shared fries. For the first time in days, no one pointed. No one whispered. And then, she heard it. A harmonica. Soft, unpolished, but achingly human. The notes floated through the humid air, bending and dipping like a memory you couldn't quite place. They pulled at something inside her. A story, a sorrow, a secret. She followed the sound until it led her to the steps of an abandoned bookstore. Vines curled around broken brick. A sign hung crookedly above the door. The words "Lark and Quill Books" faded with time. And there he was, sitting on the steps, cross-legged, head bowed. Nathan played the harmonica like it was an extension of his soul. His clothes were worn, but not filthy. A duffel bag rested beside him. No sign asking for change, no cup, no act, just him and that sound. She stopped, caught off guard. There was something magnetic about him. His face was angular but gentle, shadowed by a scruffy beard. His fingers moved with practiced ease. His eyes, when they finally looked up, were a deep, unexpected blue, like the Atlantic just before a storm. He blinked. "Didn't think I'd attract the first daughter," he said, his voice low and calm. Emily's mouth fell open. You know who I am?" He smirked faintly. "You think just because I'm homeless I don't watch the news?" There was no bitterness in his tone, just honesty. Emily laughed nervously, brushing a strand of hair behind her ear. "So, are you going to post about this? Sell the story?" Nathan shrugged. "What would I do with fame? I'm already invisible." The words hit her hard, sharper than she expected. She didn't know what to say. Emily laughed nervously, brushing a strand of hair behind her ear. "So, are you going to post about this? Sell the story?" Nathan shrugged. "What would I do with fame? I'm already invisible." The words hit her hard, sharper than she expected. She didn't know what to say. Instead, she reached into the pocket of her hoodie and pulled out a sandwich she had stuffed there earlier, a turkey on rye from the kitchen. She held it out to him. He hesitated, then took it like a peace offering. They ate in silence. Birds chirped somewhere above them. A distant car honked. But in that small corner of the city, time slowed. No camera crews, no press, no expectations, just a girl in a hoodie and a man with a harmonica. When they finished, Nathan wiped his hands and leaned back against the stone wall. He studied her, not like an admirer, not like a threat, but like someone trying to understand a puzzle. "You're not like they say," he murmured. "Who's they?" she asked. "Everyone." Emily smiled softly. "Neither are you." Nathan pulled something from his bag, a leather notebook, worn, dog-eared. Tucked inside were pages of handwritten poems, short stories, lines that spilled like dreams across paper. He offered it to her. She reached for it, but paused. "Next time," she whispered. He nodded. And she left, heart racing, cheeks flushed, mind spinning. She didn't know why she had sat beside him. She didn't even know if it was safe. All she knew was, for the first time in years, someone had looked at her like a person, not a pawn, not a post, just Emily. And that, more than anything, made her believe there would be a next time. End of chapter 1.
If this video sparked your interest, taught you something new, or simply made your day better, go ahead and hit that like button. And if you never want to miss out on content like this, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. Your support helps us grow and keeps the content coming.